comes from the Black Business School. Um, I was reading today about the rapper Bobby Shmurda and the fact that Shmurda, I let's see, I have to look up his real name. I shouldn't call him Bobby Shmurda, but we'll just call him that for now. But he does have a real name, and I think that maybe giving him his real name might allow us to rehumanize this man who's been dehumanized by the music industry. In so many cases, young black men are made into these cartoon characters, these caricatures that are designed for the entertainment of white folks. And that kind of exploitation has been going on for a very long time because we have a society where you've got people that are placed in these really desperate situations where their only hope to get ahead, to make any money, to be successful is to go out and tap dance for white folks. And that's pretty much what they had Bobby Shmurda doing when with L.A. Reid. He's worked along with Kenneth Babyface Edmonds and some others. I'm trying to look and see what his record label is. I want to make sure I say it right. I don't want to mention the wrong one. Anyway, I'll look up his record label. But anyway, it's very interesting because this week Reid finally responded to the and to the allegation that he's kind of blown off Bobby Shmurda since Bobby got locked up. Now, it's interesting because when you kind of look around and you see what sort of happens in this industry, what you see is he's with Epic Records, by the way. I want to make sure Epic Records gets mentioned because this was Bobby Shmurda's label. It's very interesting that you'll see these scenarios where record labels controlled and run by whites, especially if they're publicly held companies, and Reid talks about his company being publicly held. They will exploit the experience of young black males in the hood. The massive Holocaust that has been created in black communities as a result of mass incarceration, the war on drugs, drug-related violence. What it's done is it's created a whole generation of young people, really two generations now, of young people who've been traumatized. Many of their parents were locked up for selling drugs. Many of their parents were murdered in drug-related violence. Many of their parents were incarcerated over the drugs. And Bobby Shmurda actually talks about that in his video where he's doing this. He's constantly doing this, saying he'll shoot any black person. I'll shoot a nigga down in a minute. This kind of thing. And they love that kind of stuff. I mean, you saw where Bobby Shmurda went to Epic Records, and they had him dancing on the table like a monkey in front of a room full of white people. And they loved the whole pop 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 gun show, the whole cartoon character, the whole coonery thing back when Bobby Shmurda was making them money. But now that Bobby Shmurda has felt the consequences of the promotion of a lifestyle that leads to black male genocide and self-destruction, they don't want nothing to do with him. And L.A. Reid is in this precarious position of being the black overseer of the big white corporation that has been exploiting the hell out of black people and somehow trying to explain his position, trying to play both sides of the fence. I want to make money with these white folks who are taking advantage of these kids, but I also want to maintain my hood credibility. Well, based on what I'm seeing, I don't really see any credibility. It does not mean that Reid is not genuinely trying. Maybe this is the best he knows how. Maybe he's been so enslaved by this white supremacist capitalist mindset that even he doesn't understand the hypocrisy of his pathetic and very weak explanation for why he has not come and helped Bobby Shmurda. If you look at naturallymoi.com, naturallyMoi.com, there's an article about this, and I'll try to put the link in the video below, where Reid is kind of explaining away and saying, well, in the music industry, it's just not financially viable to bail people out. We just don't make that kind of money, blah, 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 blah. Well, L.A. Reid, according to Celebrity Net Worth, he's worth about $300 million. Now, Bobby Shmurda's bail is listed at $2 million. Now, from what I understand, you don't actually have to put up any. You have to put barely a fraction of that $2 million to bail somebody out. So you're talking about maybe a couple $100,000, $300,000, $400,000, a few $100,000 could get the job done. And I guarantee you that if you go and look in L.A. Reid's garage, he's probably got a car that's worth several $100,000. He probably lives in a home that's worth over at least $1 million, maybe two, maybe three, maybe five, maybe 10, right? He's probably got several assets. He's probably got paintings worth more money than it would cost to bail out this young child whose life, his most precious asset, his life is being jeopardized, is being threatened by the fact that he's looking at 25 years in prison. And a lot of this is so interesting because as a black man, if you're truly a conscientious black man, what you say to a young Bobby Shmurda is this: you say, "Look, I see how you got here. You got here, you got big because you representing G69, you representing the Crips, and you're doing the gangbang thing because this is what seems cool to you because you're only 19 years old. You haven't yet seen the long-term consequences of this kind of behavior. I'm gonna get you on the phone with Freeway Ricky Ross, the real Rick Ross, not the fat one. I'm talking about the real one who actually sold more cocaine in LA than almost anybody in American history because he was being supplied by the CIA and the Colombians who were working with the CIA, or maybe they weren't Colombians. I think they were. It might have been Colombians. But anyway, I know another guy who went down on some stuff he was getting from the Colombians. Just so you know, there is record that the CIA played a role in bringing the drugs into the black community. I think it's important to make that point. So if I'm L.A. Reid, I get him on the phone with Freeway Ricky Ross, who explains to him as a young black man why the promotion of this deadly lifestyle is not healthy for him. And then we talk about viable options where you can still be cool, you can still be a hot boy. You don't have to be a hot nigga. Because that's the thing. His number one hit songs was called Hot Nigga. He didn't need to talk about killing nobody for that song to be a hit. That people was doing the Shmoney Dance. Beyonce was doing the Shmoney Dance. I don't think she did the dance because he was talking about killing people. She did the dance because she thought it was cool. She thought it had a good beat. She thought he had a nice flow. She liked all of that. Why must we sort of allow these record labels, many of them run by whites and Jews, not black people, who are not feeling the consequences of this kind of promotion of our own genocide? Why in the world do we let these people push music upon us that is leading to the deaths of our children? You see, nothing good comes out of being 19 years old and being given corporate money to rap about murdering other young black men. Again, this would not be allowed if Bobby Shmurda were Jewish. He couldn't rap about killing Jewish people or rapping about Holocaust. I'm gonna put you in an oven like Hitler did in World War II. You can't do that, right? But somehow there's this interesting fascination that many white people have, and L.A. Reid is one of those white people, that this fascination with this life in the hood. Ooh, tell me about more of your adventures in the hood. It's just so exciting. You know why it's interesting to them, exciting to them? Because they've never seen their 4-year-old child get their brains blown out on the goddamn sidewalk because somebody hit them with a stray bullet. They don't have to deal with that stuff. I live on the south side of Chicago. I'm reading every day about so many people that are dying on a regular basis. It's not necessary. It doesn't have to happen like this. So, I'm going to call bullshit on L.A. Reid's explanation. Brother, you can't play both sides of the fence. Don't come out here talking about, oh, I like Bobby. I think he's a good kid, and I'd take care of him if I could, but I just can't because we just don't have the money. Well, no. You just don't have the backbone. You don't have the moral fortitude to do what is right. You're so focused on the bottom line that you're not thinking about the bottom line of his life and what his life is worth to him. You use this kid, you took a misguided young person. Now I understand why a teenager would want to rap about killing and all that. I grew up during the NWA Ice Cube era. At that time, I didn't understand when Ice Cube came out and said, "When I got a sawed off, bodies are hauled off." I thought that was a cool lyric. I didn't understand that when you have a real sawed offs and you kill real people, real families are being devastated. So when I was a teenager, even I thought that this was okay. But as I became a man, when I became what black men are supposed to be, which is leaders and protectors of our communities, I realized this is wrong, and I need to make sure young people understand this, that we give them other alternatives so that they can still be cool and flashy and have fun and do their thing, but do it in such a way that's not going to cost them their lives. So I remember somebody said to me one time, it was right after Tupac got killed, and she said, the unfortunate thing about life is that if all you do is rap about roses, eventually somebody's going to bring you some flowers. And I thought about that when I thought about Bobby Shmurda. And if you got this kid who is already, he's getting some street cred because he's rapping about gang banging and killing black men and all this other stuff, and then you take corporate money, what you're doing is you're accelerating his image in the world. You're putting his brand on steroids. So suddenly he becomes the center of attention for every gangbanger, killer, whatever, that element that he's drawing in because he's portraying himself as the murderous alpha male. You're leading this kid to self-destruction because here's what you're doing. You're making him, the Chinese have a saying that says the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. You're making him the fattest pig. You're putting him in the middle of everybody, and he's got this image talking about I'll kill a nigga, I'm this, I'm that, and he's gotta maintain this image, right? He can't go around and say, well, I'm just pretending, I'm just faking. Hip hop has a type of authenticity that rappers are expected to maintain, which is kind of ridiculous, but it's real. And so suddenly he's drawing all these people who are real killers, real gangsters, who have real guns. And maybe he was real too. I'm not saying he's not, but here's the thing. He's then got to protect himself from all of this. Because the police ain't gonna protect him. When he gets shot, they're gonna do like they did one of my friends, Kenyatta, who runs Hip Hop Motivation. They're gonna look at him and say, "What did you do to deserve to get killed?" That's how they treat young black men who get murdered. Um, so he's got to protect himself. Well, how do you protect yourself? Well, you're getting on the phone with your boy. Hey, man, I need an AR-15. I need a silencer. I need this. I need that. You get all these illegal weapons. Next thing you know, you're caught up on a gun charge. Boom. Bobby Shmurda's in prison on a gun charge. You may never see him again. You won't see him again until he's older than I am right now. And that's the unfortunate reality. And as all this is happening, life goes on for L.A. Reid. And as E40 said in a song a long time ago, they'll find a new nigga next year. L.A. Reid, brother, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you should be ashamed of yourself right now. You should be absolutely ashamed. This is deplorable. It's despicable. It's inexcusable. So, I wish I could help this kid. I didn't even make any money from him, but I wish I had the money to help him out. I would have, at the very least, sat him down and had a conversation with him and just said, let's talk about how you can get your money and not destroy, not sell out your community, sell out your family, and sell out yourself. Every time a young black man goes down like this, that's one less husband, one less father, one less leader in our community that we could have had otherwise. So I'll be damned if I'm going to let you do this kind of stuff and act like it's okay, because it's not. That's all I want to say. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School. Please take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.